Hello everyone, CM Freeze here, and today it is Super Bowl Sunday, and I just quickly wanted to get out a video of all the bets that I'm going to be making. I like to pride myself on my sports betting. I've done it for a long time now, and I think I'm pretty good at it. I guess you have no reason to believe me, and you can think this is ass, but this is just the picks I'm personally going to be making for Super Bowl Sunday, and after I make this video, I'll maybe make a follow-up video to see how stupid I am. So first I'm going to do the bets I'm for sure making, and then, or the bets I've already made, and then I'll follow that up with bets that you could make, and maybe I'll pull the trigger on, but we'll see. So the first bet I'm making is Chiefs money line. At plus 100 here, I mean, that's great odds. You bet 25 bucks, you win 25 bucks. Also, I'm sick, so I don't know how I'm going to sound, so if I sound like shit, I could just not even do this video. I got sick last night, unfortunately. I made a whole video on why I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. It's the most recent video on my channel. After this, maybe I'll link it at the end of the video, but go check that out. But I am picking the Chiefs money line to win. Tons of reasons for this. Just I like Mahomes better. I like Andy Reid better. Kyle Shanahan 40-0, in fourth quarter. But I'm picking Chiefs money line. Next, when you go to player props here, or let's go to receiving props first. I'm picking two guys for sure here. One, I'm picking Kelce at over 70.5 yards. Kelce's gonna have a good day. Man, honestly, I think I would bet this. My cutoff for Kelce yards would probably be 80 yards. I think 70 yards is an absolute steal. What a lot of people don't realize is this could very well be Travis Kelce's last game. He came out this year and said that he's closer to retirement than a lot of people thought. And if you look at his contract, he only has 2 years left on it. But honestly, for what Kelce does, he's not making that much money. There are running backs that are making a lot more money than Travis Kelce is. And I guarantee you he's making a much more money off of his commercials than he is playing in the NFL. And if his brother Jason Kelce, he right now needs to sign a contract to play on a team. Who's to say that Travis Kelce doesn't win the Super Bowl and him and his brother retire together and he goes and lives his life and stops messing up his body for the future, It's a very true statement. I think Travis Kelce is going to give his all this game, and he just is one of those players that always finds himself open. People like us, like fans, have the mindset of, oh, well, the 49ers, there's no way they're going to let Travis Kelce beat them. You don't think that all the other teams the Chiefs have faced so far this season have thought there's no way we're going to let Travis Kelce beat us, and he still beats them? That's what makes a good player great. Like, you think of Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey. People plan around them, and they're so good that they still make plays. Look at the last couple of games. Travis Kelce has played phenomenal. And I love Travis Kelce over 70.5 yards. I'm also betting on Travis Kelce anytime touchdown as well. I don't think there's any way he doesn't get a touchdown in this game. Mahomes is going to, or Andy Reid's going to scheme up a play where Kelce gets open. If this is truly his last game and he's giving it everything he's got, Kelce's getting a touchdown. The other player here, I like yards. I didn't really think too much about it, but I have listened to tons of shows, read reports, watched TV, all that stuff. Just through all my research, everyone is saying George Kittle. It was originally 49.5 yards. That's what I got the bet at. Everyone's saying George Kittle over on the yards. I have insider guys who, I can't say much more than that, but I got inside sources and they also agree with me that George Kittle over 50.5 is where it's at. Let me pull up the full report that I got here. Give me a second. Yeah, so the full report that I got and the two guys to look out for the 49ers receiving are George Kittle, and they also like Brandon Ayuk. I'm not going to bet this, but my sources say that Brandon Ayuk over 60 yards is good. Personally, I just like the Kittle over the yards. You think of the Chiefs defense, and they have really good lockdown corners. They got Ladarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie, and they got good safeties as well. So when you look at that, the wide receivers might be a little tied up, and Brock Purdy, with pressure in his face and with his wide receivers being locked up, George Kittle could be open a lot this game. So I did bet the George Kittle over 50.5 yards. Everyone seems to love this, and I do too. So those are the two guys I'm for sure doing yards on, are Kelce and Kittle. If you wanted to do Ayuk, I don't hate it, but personally I'm not. Then when we go over to the rushing yards, I got Christian McCaffrey at over 89.5. In both of his games, McCaffrey has rushed for over 89.5. And I think McCaffrey's going to have a great game today. Brock Purdy has played great. Brock Purdy has played phenomenal, but he hasn't played in a Super Bowl yet. This is going to be the biggest game of his career. Brock Purdy, in both games he's played in the playoffs this year, has looked like shit for half a quarter, and then he's really turned on in the second quarter once he started losing. The Chiefs have a great pass defense. Their weakness on defense is their rushing defense, and I think that the 49ers are going to run it down their throat. You look at that Buffalo game, the Chiefs defense could not stop the Buffalo Bills running attack. And then for some reason, the Ravens just decided not to run the ball. I think the 49ers are going to look at that film, see the mistake that the Ravens made, and understand that they have the offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey, who was the best non-quarterback this year, and run it down the Chiefs' throat. You can have multiple big rushes for big gains. And if Brock Purdy's looking shaky, and if Brock Purdy is looking bad, I love the over on Christian McCaffrey rushing yards. I also really love Brock Purdy over 12.5 rushing yards. He's achieved this in both of his games now that he's played. I can just see Brock Purdy getting a big rush. I also heard that the Chiefs allow some of the most rushing yards to quarterbacks this year. And that just could be because that their secondary is so locked down. Brock Purdy can see that everyone's locked up, and he just runs up the middle. And all it takes is one or two big rushes for Brock Purdy to achieve this. I also really like the Brock Purdy over 12.5 rushing yards. Next, you can look at passing. I'm scared on both of these, honestly. If it is more of a defensive game, or if it's a game with a lot of long drives, Mahomes is going to do great. He obviously is. But Patrick Mahomes, and I just had to look it up to confirm, has only reached this over once. In the Dolphins game, he had 662 passing yards. Then the game against Buffalo, he had 215. In the game against Baltimore, he had 241. He looked great in all those games, right? Mahomes looked dominant in those games. Yet Mahomes had less than 261 yards. He hasn't needed that. His defense has played so well. Brock Purdy could have a terrible game. It's very serious. We have not seen him on a Super Bowl stage yet. And I don't want to hear anything about how good of a season he's had. The biggest factor that I look into this is Jared Goff. When the Goffs played the Patriots a couple years ago, Goff had one of the best seasons ever. And then first time in the Super Bowl, did nothing. That's the most recent time of it. I guess Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford 2 years ago both looked pretty decent, but Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford are not Brock Purdy. Joe Burrow also had been there before winning the Natty. So I'm not a big fan of either of these. I would avoid both of these passing yards. But again, do what you like. If you really like this, then do it. I'm not going to complain. Also with the touchdowns too. Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You might think that's a steal. Again, he only had one passing touchdown in the game with Miami and one passing touchdown in the game with Baltimore. He has not reached in two of the three playoff games, he's only thrown one passing touchdown. You know, Brock Purdy, this scares you too because of all the rushing touchdowns McCaffrey could get. Now, where is the touchdown props? Yeah, touchdown scores. Like I said, I really like Kelce anytime touchdown. McCaffrey anytime touchdowns given too, but I would parlay this with something because minus 220 odds. I'm not the biggest fan of minus 220 odds. Again, I heard that Ayuk's supposed to do really well. I'm not going to bet this. The Chiefs secondary is just too scary for me. But apparently, Brandon Ayuk plus 180 is big. So those are the bets that I'm for sure doing. I'm for sure doing Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. I'm for sure doing Travis Kelce over yards, Kittle over yards, McCaffrey over rushing yards, and Brock Purdy over rushing yards. And then Chiefs money line. So those are the 6 bets that I have out. Those are the 6 bets I really like. And then the bets that I'm not sure if I'm going to bet or not. Like I said, it's Ayuk touchdown and Ayuk rushing because apparently Ayuk's supposed to have a really good game. And then there is one that I want to talk about. Where did I see here? Okay, Super Bowl MVP. This would be a long shot. This is a long shot bet. And I might only bet $10 on this. I don't hate Travis Kelce MVP. I don't hate it. And here's why. At most, I'd bet $10. $10 on Travis Kelce MVP wins you $120. So you're betting $10 to win 12 times the amount of money. And you might be thinking I'm stupid, but just hear this out. 2 reasons. I already mentioned one. This could be his last game. He could be giving everything he got in this game. And if he's doing that and he's playing lights out, if Travis Kelce has 100 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns, that could be enough. And 2, and this is the main reason why I'm thinking it, it's kind of just speculation, but there have only been 2 players to have more than 2 Super Bowl MVPs. There have been a couple of players to have 2 Super Bowl MVPs, but only 2 guys have had 3 or more. Brady with 5, Montana with 3. Mahomes currently has 2 Super Bowl MVPs, but the interesting thing about Brady and Joe Montana is they both won a Super Bowl MVP in both of their first 2 Super Bowls they played in. So in Brady's first 2 Super Bowls, he won MVP. Montana's first 2 Super Bowls, he won MVP. Mahomes, in his first 2 Super Bowls that he won MVP. Now, in the 3rd Super Bowl win that both Brady and Montana had, they didn't win MVP. In Brady's 3rd Super Bowl win, it was Edelman that won it. And in Joe Montana's 3rd Super Bowl win, it was Jerry Rice that won it. So the number 1 target for Brady and Montana won a Super Bowl MVP before they did. Who's Mahomes' number 1 target? Travis Kelce. And I know that's a long shot. I'm not saying this is a surefire bet by any means. I'm just saying $10 on Travis Kelce MVP to win $120. I don't hate the bet. Personally, I think Mahomes is going to win MVP. But if there's a second person to put money on, if you put $10 on Mahomes, you win $12. You put $10 on Kelce, it's a long shot bet. But I don't hate it. Second bet I don't hate the under for this game. I'm going to be the first person to say it. I don't hate the under for this game. I personally, if I had to pick, I would pick the under. And here's why. The Chiefs, I just looked it up. The Chiefs have played in 20 games. They had their 17 regular season games, 3 playoff games. In those 20 games, this under here of 47.5, the Chiefs have been in that under 14 times. So in only 6 games this year, the Chiefs have been over 48 total, or 48 points. The Chiefs have a really good defense, and I don't think people are talking about that. The Chiefs have a really good defense, and I think the Chiefs defense is way better than the Lions defense, and it's way better than the Packers defense. In the Packers game that they reached, it was 24-21 with the 49ers. The Packers game was under 47.5. Now the Lions game was over, but those are against 2 high-powered offenses. The Chiefs, they have a great offense, but in their game against both Miami and Baltimore, it was also under this. So of the 5 total playoff games that these two teams have been in, they've only reached this over twice. So 2 out of the 5 games it went over 48 points. I don't hate the under here. I don't hate the under. I could see this being a 20-17 kind of game or a 24-17 kind of game, you know? Hell, even if it's a 24-20 game, that's still 44 points. If it's a 27-20 game, that's still 47 points. And that's what I'm thinking initially. Like, I'm thinking that this is a 20-17, a 24-17, or a 27-20 kind of game. You know? I don't think this can be a high-scoring game. I don't hate the under. I might bet the under myself, you know? I might. I don't know if I'm going to pull that trigger yet because this very well could be a game where Mahomes just is lighting it up and the Chiefs are scoring very quickly. But I don't think that's going to happen. Kind of like the under on this. But so anyways, guys, those are my bets. I gave you the 6 bets I'm for sure making, and then my 2 long shot bets. I guess the under isn't as much as a long shot bet as Travis Kelce MVP, but that's more so just, you know what? Maybe you want to make this if you think you're gonna have some extra money from betting the overs and all those guys. But anyways, guys, let me know down below if you also have some surefire bets that you're gonna be making. I would love to hear it. And thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, peace.